All right, welcome back for the Star Trek Rewatch, where every Thursday I watch an episode of Star Trek, the original series, read the entry from Alan Asherman's Star Trek Compendium, and then give a few of my thoughts, and then leave the comments open for you to let me know what you think about it. So here we go. This is episode number 2 of season number 2, Who Mourns for Adonais? This was filmed in late May and early June of 1967. Original broadcast was in September of 1967. The writers on this were Gilbert A. Ralston and Gene L. Kuhn, with the story by Gilbert A. Ralston. The director was Mark Daniels. The composer was Fred Steiner, and the photographic effects were done by Modern Film Effects. I'll read the entry, or just the summary. In the vicinity of Pollax IV, the Enterprise encounters a huge green hand that materializes in space and holds the starship motionless. The hand is not flesh and blood, but a form of energy belonging to a humanoid figure who identifies himself as the god Apollo, the last survivor of the band of space travelers who visited old Earth and dwelt on Mount Olympus. Apollo wishes the Enterprise crew to stay on Pollax IV to worship him. When Mr. Scott objects to the attention Apollo shows Lieutenant Carolyn Palamas, the engineer protests and is hurled through air by a thunderbolt from Apollo's hand. The god also demonstrates other abilities, including the power to become giant-sized at will. Kirk enlists the aid of Lieutenant Palamas, who has fallen in love with Apollo. With her aid, Kirk fights the alien and destroys his temple, the source of the entity's abilities. Seeing that he has lost both his cause and Carolyn, Apollo discontinues his physical existence, and the Enterprise continues on its way. Okay, so Leslie Parrish plays Carolyn Palamas here, and Apollo is played by, what's his name? Michael, I can't remember his last name. I'm so sorry. I should have. Michael Forrest. All right, Michael Forrest. That's his name. All right. So this one, it's another godlike alien. We get a retread here. Honestly, I kind of was getting flashes of the Squire of Gothos in this, where last season we saw Trelane, who had a machine that amplified his powers. So that kind of reminded me, and this one I was kind of thinking, oh, another godlike alien. It wasn't a bad episode. Okay, I enjoyed it. It just wasn't like one of my favorites. I think that Leslie Parrish and Michael Forrest here really elevated the material. I thought that they did great. Chekhov, I don't know, man. Another bad wig. I mean, looking at Walter Koenig, this is his second appearance, and he gets involved. He goes down with the landing party, and he gets to do some, like, I guess what would be Spock's role. There is a line from McCoy where I think he says something like he's been hanging out around Mr. Spock too much, something along those, which is kind of along those lines, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it was fine. It was a perfectly fine episode. Just not an all timer. You know, it's memorable, but I wouldn't consider this like one of my favorites by a long shot. Okay. Anyways, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. I do think that the banter between Uhura and Spock on the Enterprise was really good when she is underneath the communications council and she's in there doing, what did she say, some very delicate work. And Mr. Spock uh, puts his, basically gives her approval and says, I can think of nobody that I would trust, more to do this job than you, essentially. I don't think I got the exact quote there, but there are no deaths in this episode, no crewman deaths. So we are still at 26. Nobody has died in season 2 yet. So we are 2 episodes in. I think next week is the Changeling. So I know for a fact we get some deaths in that one. And I remember the Changeling not because it's a great episode, but mainly because the Changeling kind of gets retread almost in Star Trek The Motion Picture, but we'll get there when we get to it. So I'm going to wrap things up here. Let me know what you think about this one. To me, it's alright, not great, not terrible. I think the worst episodes still remain for me as um, the alternative factor and probably Miri. Those are like my bottom two. So it's definitely better than those. All right, thank you for watching. And as always, till next time, have a wonderful day.